the mental health workforce. Oh, as well as wishing you a happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Okay, there was one addendum on the thing. I don't go to LA Trade Tech. I go to LACC. If you figure out, like, you know, where my money is. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Leo.
Okay. Each time I deliver my story, the tale warps every time. Details change, the illness changes, and how I feel about it is never the same. I constantly reinvent myself as to how to feel about the entire thing, as I also try to improve myself as time passes. It used to be a tragedy. I wanted people to sympathize, but now I just want people to understand. I don't want people to feel sad. I just want people to get to know me and understand where I'm from. This story isn't just about perseverance, hard work, or being strong. It's about much more than that. This story is about people who love me, people who taught me to believe and love myself and my life, and an environment that shows me that there is a future I can work towards. I came from a divorced family, and I moved around a lot. I was depressed in high school, and my school psychiatrist said I had dysthymia. I thought I was just one of those goth kids, and I think I still am. I lived on my own way before the age of 18. And I experienced drug usage around the age of 13 years old. During my college years, I started using heavily, and I experimented with all kinds of drugs. From LSD to ketamine, I tried everything that I could use to party and feel alive. I was a good kid though, deep down. I was also smart too, as I graduated from UC Berkeley, even with the drug use. It wasn't until I graduated that I started to begin to have symptoms. I remember the first job I had after school. I had auditory hallucinations around my peers. I was actually fired because I told my boss that I was being sexually harassed by my coworkers. It was actually a hallucination I was having, and my peers did not actually do that. I felt so cheated, I was confused, being fired. I didn't know what exactly was going on. I was latching onto anything I could hold on to. When time went on, my symptoms worsened. However, I didn't know it at the time. I thought they were just my thoughts, and that I could trust them. Just opinions, right? But these opinions were baseless, and they were just arbitrarily imagined from my symptoms. It was actually a hallucination I was having. Oh, wait, sorry. But these opinions were baseless and were just arbitrarily imagined from the symptoms. I moved out because I thought my brother was gay. He isn't. And wanted to hurt me somehow. I thought my brother and my best friend at the time were conspiring against me. I imagined everyone to have a vendetta against me. And there was this entire game plan to make me look like I was a fool. I remember I was locked into my apartment, just staying there with nothing around. Maybe my big screen TV. But I was writing this all down, and I was figuring out who was against me and why. It was like as if it were a game, and all of them were deliberately against me. I worsened in that apartment that I moved myself into. I started watching Bruce Lee movies. These movies led me to believe that I was his son, Bruce Lee's son. More so than that my parents weren't my parents, and that my family had taken the fortune away from me. It seemed so clear to me, like a breath of fresh air. I finally realized it. It kept me in the dark the entire time. My money problems, my rent, my food, my car, my parking tickets, and most importantly, my drugs, all of it would be solved if I was just Bruce Lee's son. Getting a job and getting my crap together did not even pass my mind. Not one single thought about it. Time passed, and my illness worsened. 2 years had passed where I wouldn't take my medication, where I didn't believe I had an illness, and where I ran away so that no one could find me. However, I made it back home, eventually. It took crack pipes, gun scares, people performing sexual acts around me to finally give in. Also, I was paranoid beyond belief, and I didn't think I could do any more running. When I finally gave up, I gave it all up. I quit drugs, I started seeing my therapist every week, and I finally got my SSI. This was a long path though, as I did see my therapist even when I was high off my mind during my last year running around. Sorry, it's kind of long. Throughout this journey was my sister. She believed in me. She did not give up on me. She was my light. If it wasn't for her, I would be in a ditch somewhere, or somewhere in an alley, drinking out of a flask of alcohol, talking to myself. I believed it. I didn't want to believe in myself. I felt completely alone, and I was completely broke. I just wanted to not be there. I had no hope. And my sister, she gave me back my hope. She gave me back my home. After a year on SSI, I began to look for work. My mom told me that I had to do something with my life. She didn't think I should just stay home and do nothing. My sister, she gave me time, something that is precious. She believed that I would stay alive at least, but she hoped for so much more than that. Seeing that my family was always chasing goals, and especially that my mom and sister were always moving forward, I knew I was meant to do it too, at least a little bit. Once I began to think outside my own mind, and I understood their adversity and how they moved forward, I understood that that's what my family did. It was around this time that APCTC got a drug counselor, and now my close friend, Joe Flores, was assigned to me. It was simple, the first meeting between us. It was simple, the first meeting between us. It wasn't about the drugs, it was about my life. I remember the first thing he asked. He asked, "What do you want most in the world?" I thought for a second. Because this is one of those questions you ask 5-year-olds when you're their uncle or something. But honestly, it was a good question. I replied to him that I wanted a job, and that I saw an ad for peer advocate at the window of the receptionist. He said he would look into it, and that was that. Simple. Joe didn't give me any runaround. That's why I like him. That's why I love him. And that's why he's one of the people that saved my life, and that I call family. It was the very same day that Joe called me back. He told me there was a training program for being a peer advocate, and that I should call this guy named Al. So I called immediately. Al picked up right away. I spoke to him. He decided to give me a phone interview then and there for the chance to join the program. Listening intently, I heard Al's Asian accent. And I knew I had a trump card. My degree from Berkeley. Any Asian hearing that name instantly would allow their youngest child to be wed to me. Seriously though, Al gave me a very succinct and formal interview and decided that I would be fit to join the training at his facility. Not his facility then, but now. Yeah. 9 months later, and 2 armful of tattoos later, I have tattoos over this. So, with Al's guidance and complete understanding of mental illness, I was made a peer advocate at a center where we train. Al's guidance was priceless, and he is also one of the reasons why I'm standing before you today. He understood my illness so well and trusted me to succeed in the job I am doing now. Al believes in me, just like everyone else he meets, with the trust of a lifetime. He knows you will do that great thing, because I believe that is what he sees in people. He always talks about being human, and that, I think, is a very patient thought. That being human is somewhat flawed, but when you look closely, that is exactly what makes it so beautiful. He's a guy that I would invite to my daughter's first birthday, along with Joe, my drug counselor. And also I'm gonna adopt, so I'm not gonna single dad adopting. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Okay. Despite what many may think, I never met a person that didn't want me to work. I personally believe that everyone would, because they would want you to be out in the world. If they don't, maybe they're worried or scared, but it's only because they love you. However, I was lucky. No one stood in my way. However, there was times where I felt like I should stop. I had SSI money. Work wasn't going to bring that much more. It was a question of dollars and cents. However, I slowly understood that working was a matter of health. It was as if I wasn't eating right or working out from time to time. I needed work in my life to stay healthy and to be a well-rounded person. Honestly though, I wanted to improve myself and what I did with my life. And much more than that, I fell in love. I feel this each day as I work at the clinic, because I feel it. I feel rewards with giving myself to people, and I try to care about the members of my wellness center, of the wellness center, our wellness center. I love the people who work with me, and yes, even Joe, my drug counselor, who works with me now. I'm lucky because I felt this way at the very first day at the job. I didn't recognize I would just be around people and helping them socialize. I hung back at first, and I didn't know exactly how to interact with people. However, when I did, I saw different things in people that I thought were amazing. These impressions carry on to me to this day, and I try to keep it in focus when I counsel and guide them. They are amazing people, even if sometimes they are acting strangely. That focus on who they really are inside, I hope, is the philosophy of my center. And I think it is. That is possibly why I am given this opportunity to speak to all of you today. The thought that people are unique, beautiful, and kind when you look at the entire scope of things, when you continually believe in that, they'll shine more brightly than you would have ever thought. The greatest piece of advice that helped me on my journey is that work is not necessarily work when you have the right environment. The philosophy that keeps our center revolving keeps it from being meaningless. Work is not just a way to get money. Not saying that money isn't a great thing. Yeah, same joke. Jokes don't go well. But when you're put into a world that is away from you, from just you, and it's about so much more than just you, that's amazing. When you work as a team to achieve goals, that's amazing. When there are results and achievements, that's amazing too. However, when there are so many amazing people all around you, I think that's the most amazing thing. So my advice would be to look for a place where you are surrounded by amazing people, where you can be yourself, and where there are goals on the horizon. Thank you.
Happy birthday and congratulations.
Oh, yes.
There you go. Should we do a picture?
One day. Thank you. Oh yeah, he is so sorry. Really? Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. That was very inspiring and illuminating. In hearing people's journeys, we learn a lot about not just the person telling the story, but also about ourselves. Next, I'd like to